Hey everyone, it's me, Reese Layla again. Just so you know, I work for Narangli Radio, 103.3 2TLP FM. We're here today for a very important meeting for Gathang language at the Taree Tafe. It's going really well, we're covering some good ground. In a moment we're going to cross to a few of the people to have some interviews and get their views and everything, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so welcome back to the very important Gathang meeting that we're holding here at TAFE. We've got another member here with us now. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Anna Ash. I'm Regional Coordinator of Languages at Murray Language Centre at Nambucca Heads, and we've been working with the Gathang language group since the early days of 2004. The group formed itself in 2009 when the dictionary was being published, and they have copyright of the dictionary. So, I've come here just to keep the group growing, and there seems to be a need for the group to put down their protocols and spread the word about what they do. So we're here just to support that happening.
So, what are you here to do today? What's your role in this project?
I do various bits and pieces, help take the minutes, just liaise between different groups. Like I've invited the Sharon Edgar Jones and Sophie Nichols, who are working on Hunter River Lake Macquarie language, to come along and share what's happening with them. Mainly forming their protocols. My colleague Julie Long is also here today, so later on we'll be talking about developing a database of all the questions people have asked about how do you say this in Gathang, like naming events or signage at schools. It's easy to lose track of what's happened in the community, so if we can have a database that compiles all that information, then people know what different things have been named over the years and we don't reinvent the wheel. Another area is for the Certificate 3. Murabai worked with Gathang people and the TAFE here to deliver a Cert 1, and now people are very keen to learn more language. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah, we're looking around to what's available to teach at Certificate 3 level. And we'll be talking about that later today, but the hope is that by, April or so, like Term 2 next year, that we'll be able to start delivering the Cert 3.
Excellent.
Probably in Taree, I think.
That'd be excellent to see. Okay, so would you be able to explain what's the purpose of today? Why have we gathered here today?
The group is focusing on developing their protocols so that they have a clear idea of what the group does and the message that they want to put out to the community. They want to ensure that the integrity of the Gathang language is protected, and that Gathang people keep control of the language. So everybody here wants to see the language grow and be used and be taught, but they want it to be done in the right way, and they want Gathang people to be involved in that process.
Why do you think it's really important that we have these protocols in place?
It gives the group a firm basis, and if you don't have protocols, if you don't have protocols, there can be misunderstandings. People can use the language out of context, and they might offend the elders. They may not use the language properly if they haven't, had full study of it and consulted with people. So it's about ensuring that, that the people involved in language that their voice is heard about how the language is used.
So you don't want them to misinterpret what's false, but what they appear to be true. So you want it to be protected.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people here put a lot of energy into researching the language and learning about the language, and they come from a strong cultural background, so they know what's appropriate and what's not. So things like, they're talking about welcome to countries and how that should be done throughout the community, at Tafe, but also in schools, so that the Gathang language group has a sort of a set of guidelines, so that non-Aboriginal people who, maybe they're not sure what the processes are, if they can look at this document, they get an idea of, if we want to name our canteen in Gathang language, well, we need to ask the Gathang language group. They can give us some ideas, they'll get it approved by an elder, and they can be confident that when they make that sign, that it's correct language, and they're not going to have to redo the sign, 6 months down the track.
It's come from people who have been qualified to do this.
Yeah, they've put the time in to learn their language. They're Gathang people. They're working with their elders for approval, and yeah.
Would you be able to tell us a little bit more about the Certificate 3? What this is offering people who would like to do it?
Well, the Certificate 1 was almost like a taster course. It's we crammed a lot of knowledge in there, really, but it was just a beginning. So the Certificate 3 will build on that with in many areas. So more about how to understand the language and speak it in questions and answers, and we use that approach. It's called accelerated second language acquisition.
Yep.
You don't have to read and write about it, you're just talking, and that's been a lot of fun. People really enjoy that. This course will also have a component, more than the first one, about reading and writing the language and how to unpack the grammar and dictionary. Amanda Lissarag did an excellent job writing that dictionary grammar. It's a research document. It's quite complex, so we spend quite a bit of time in class really making sure that people understand what they're reading in that book and that they know how to use it. So it does get a bit into the grammar of the language, and that needs to be done because as people want to use the language in more and more different areas, it's what we call language development. You might need new words to talk about that microphone or the camera or all sorts of things. But you want, as you develop those words, you want it to be done on good principles and the way the language, works. And so according to the rules of the language, I guess I'm saying. So there'll be a component on language development and using language in the community. No doubt people, it's a pretty creative bunch of people up here, and often there's songwriting and poetry and developing resources for use in other classes. There's, lots of those creative things as well.
Yeah, it's been explained to us a few times that this course will offer such an extensive knowledge that people are going to walk around as if it was a first language. Would you agree?
I think it's a good step in that direction. I guess to some extent it will always be a second language for people.
Yeah.
But the more people use it, and people were saying today how their experience with language has totally transformed their lives.
Yeah.
And the way they relate to country and other people has changed dramatically. So, it'll have a big impact, I think.
That's good. So we've covered pretty much everything, but do you have any closing remarks you'd like to give us?
It's just wonderful to see you fellas from Ngaralinyi here doing what you do so well, and I look forward to more of the Joylin Gathang shows on the radio as well.
Oh, for sure. Okay, well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and good luck for the future.
Thanks.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We're just a reminder, we're here at the Gathang meeting, the really important one at the Tafe. We've got one of the members here. First of all, welcome. Thanks for doing this. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Anthony Ridgway. Most of the mob out there know me anyhow, so I'm a local boy, Warramai Biripi boy, Cert 1 in Gathang. Happy to be here.
All right, thank you. Would you mind just telling us a bit about what your role is in all of this?
My role in this is I'm part of the GLG, which is the Gathang language group. I've been a member of that since it started. Basically, our roles are to determine and distinguish how the language is to be taught, where to be taught, who it is to be taught to, and how it's to be used. And at the moment we're just going through the general protocols of getting things done so we can point things in the right direction and so we don't lose it and we have full autonomy over everything.
So how long's GLG been around for?
GLG's been around since 2009, maybe a bit earlier, I think. I got asked to join in 2009 when I come up here to do first certificate 1. And it's a big responsibility, but we're happy to do it. I'm happy to be part of the team, and we've got such a great team here. And it's just good to be here in my home country, learning my language and getting it out to my people.
Yeah. So would you say it's been pretty successful so far?
Oh yeah, I'd say so. We've got it in all the schools up here. It's slowly getting out and around now. They're going to be having a launch of a new CD soon of Gathang Jewel, Gathang Stories, that myself and my dad and Jeremy Saunders helped do with the help of, I think it was Black Chili back then, with Joel Winnetong. And there's been a lot of great things happening here, especially in Taree.
So would you just want to tell us a little bit about how this day is working out and what's happening today, what we're trying to achieve today?
Well, what we are trying to achieve is how to set out the protocols of who can and can't teach, who we teach to, and how it's taught. We've got to make sure that all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, to make sure everything goes right so we don't fail. Language revitalisation is a big thing lately, and it's happening all over. But we need to launch more on the East Coast, because we were the hardest hit. When colonisation come in, the east side of Australia, linguistical genocide was the most. And so we're slowly bringing back one of our languages.
So you're mentioning about the protocols and everything that needs to be done. Why is that so important to you and to the rest of the GLG members?
It's just so we don't lose it again. You know, we lost it 200 years. It was never truly lost. No language is ever truly lost. It normally just lays dormant. And we were lucky to, through help of a couple of linguists from Motorboi up in Many Rivers, it's more to do with the identity and your culture. I found myself, from doing Certificate 1, halfway through it, I found myself more strong as an Aboriginal person, in myself, in my culture and in my language. It's, everybody needs to do this. If you want to learn Gathang, guys, come and join up.
Excellent, excellent. So we're looking at the program a little bit, and we've noticed that on offer is a Certificate 3 in the Gathang linguistics. Could you explain that a bit more and how that works?
With the Certificate 3, it's going to be speaking flat out, without any English, Gathang language. How to structure it, how to pronounce, make sure everything's pronounced properly. And once that happens, I'll forget English. I'll stop talking English and just speak my language. That's what I've been doing down home. I walk around my house and Mum don't know what I'm saying, but I'll say it 4 or 5 times in Gathang, and then I'll tell them in English if they don't guess.
So did you say that would take over as the first language?
Well, it is my first language. It was just never taught to me. It was never around. My grandmother and grandfather both spoke the language, but by law they weren't allowed to teach it or speak it. If they did, they got locked up off country. So that's how they stopped the old people from passing on, and that's how we lost it.
Yeah.
But now, we've got to learn it ourselves, teach our young ones, teach our old ones too, and just keep it going, because we're the oldest culture in the world. Rightio, we're over 65 million years young. Yeah. Rightio, and it's still here. It always will be.
Okay, well this program seems pretty good. So in saying that, do you have any closing remarks?
Listen in to 2TLP, Jewel and Gathang every Sunday night at 8:30. And pretty soon there's going to be some new shows coming out, done in a whole new different structure. and I can't wait for that to happen.
Excellent. All right, well, Tony, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and all the best for the future.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, thanks for joining us again. Again, we're here at the very important Gathang meeting hosted at the Tafe. It's a very momentous occasion. We have another member here with us now. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name's Rhonda Radley and I'm from Port Macquarie, and I'm here today to attend the Gathang language group, and I'm really excited about being part of the group. We've been discussing the protocols, which I think it's really important for us as a group to come together to have a yarn about what sort of protocols that we want to implement in our local areas.
Yep.
It's about consistency, what's happening from the upper end to the lower end of our region. So quite passionate about teaching Gathang language at Tafe. Teach in Port Macquarie and Warhope, and I'm quite excited about hearing about the development of the Cert 3,
yep.
Which it opens up a little bit more about Aboriginal people coming into learning language and where they can take that.
Yeah. All right, would you like to explain a little more about what your role is here today?
Well, I come from two different perspectives. As a community member, very passionate, and I run a Aboriginal women's group, so I'm sort of about getting language out into the community through those various groups. But also from a TAFE perspective, trying to keep community members interested in coming into that TAFE learning space, to have that contact and connection with language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so in your view, why is everyone gathered here today? What's the purpose of this meeting?
Well, it is about that having the conversation around protocols, but it's just to put some ideas on the table.
Yep.
And the group is quite diverse. There's teachers, there's community members, there's elders, and that really opens the conversation up somewhat.
So more specifically, these protocols, what are they?
Well, it gives us a framework. How we're going to go about business, how we're going to ensure that there's integrity around our language that's spoken in the various areas. So if we have a word that might mean, this is an example, listen and learn, that we're all using the same word like nada for that. So it's about having a set of guidelines around that. But also I think for me it's a little bit bigger. It's about networking and sharing ideas and resources around language.
Yeah. Mentioned before the Certificate 3 that's on offer. Can you explain a little more about what's involved within that course?
Well, from my understanding, we have our Cert 1 in TAFE, and then Cert 2 that has been on the